News360 Headlines is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint,
Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal,
EcoBank.
Tonight, ticking time bomb as over half of tuberculosis cases in Ghana go undiagnosed annually, with only about 22,000 to 44,000 of 44,000 detected cases.
Also coming up tonight, Minister of Roads and Highways Governs Kwame Adboja dismisses claims majority of road contracts awarded under government's Big Push flagship project were procured through sole sourcing.
High Court discharges two accused persons standing trial in the NPA 291 million Ghana cedis corruption case after Office of the Special Prosecutor dropped charges against them.
Coming up in business news tonight, World Bank commits $150 million to bolster Ghana's trained food security and improved agricultural resilience nationwide.
Much later in business tonight, Pakistan's Prime Minister says he's willing to host talks between US and Iran on ending the war in the Gulf. Welcome to the program. We're live also on all our social media platforms at TV3 Ghana. You can join us there and get interactive with us. Let's settle for the details.
We begin from Parliament, where government is pushing back against allegations by the minority over the use of sole sourcing in awarding some contracts under the Big Push agenda. The minority in Parliament called for the immediate publication of all contracts awarded under government's flagship Big Push infrastructure program, citing concerns over transparency and fiscal discipline. But Roads Minister Kwame Adboja says all details about the contracts have always been in the public domain.
The Big Push agenda is a multi-year national infrastructure development program estimated at about 72 billion cedis. It was launched in 2025 by President Mahama to accelerate economic growth and reduce the country's infrastructure deficit. Key focus areas include building, upgrading, and expanding road networks, bridges, railways, and water systems to create jobs and boost economic development across all 16 regions. President Mahama, during the States of the Nation address, announced that 50 major road projects spanning 1,144 kilometers are currently underway at an estimated cost of 50 billion cedis. Addressing journalists in Parliament on Tuesday, March 24, the ranking member of the Roads and Transportation Committee, Kennedy Osei-Nyako, demanded from the government details of all awarded contracts.
We strongly believe that government must, as a matter of urgency, should publish the full details of this contract. This should include the identities of the contractors, the specific scope of work assigned to each contractor, and the unit cost per kilometer. This will give Ghanaians the opportunity to independently assess the policy and promote transparency in infrastructure delivery.
But the Roads and Highways Minister Kwame Adboja said the call by the minority is mischievous, adding that all details of the contract are in the public domain.
Sole sourcing even is acceptable if in situations where there is the need to extend the implementation of works which were previously competitively procured to speed up completion. It will therefore be mischievous for any right-thinking member of society to conclude that the Ministry of Road and Highways only procures work through sole sourcing.
Ghana's road and transport sector plays a very key role, especially in the socio-economic development of its people. The minority says that it will not relent. It will keep asking questions and mounting pressure on the NDC government to ensure that the ordinary Ghanaian gets the best out of the road and transport sector. Grace Habjuman, TV3 News, Parliament House, Accra.
Now to the OSP NPA corruption case, two accused persons in the alleged 291 million National Petroleum Authority corruption case have been discharged by the High Court after the Office of the Special Prosecutor dropped charges against them. Prosecutors informed the court on Tuesday, March 24, that Albert Ankra and Isaac Mensah, both directors of KL Logistics Company Limited, had engaged officials of the Office of the Special Prosecutor to testify as prosecution witnesses. Lord Edwasari has more in this report.
The case involves former Chief Executive Officer of the National Petroleum Authority, Dr. Mustafa Abdulhamid, and 9 others who are facing multiple charges, including stealing, causing financial loss to the state, extortion, and money laundering. They have pleaded not guilty and are on bail. Principal Prosecutor with the Office of the Special Prosecutor, Adelaide Kobiru Wood, on Tuesday indicated to the court that due to the development, a new charge sheet for 8 accused persons had been filed to replace the initial 10. The accused persons pleaded not guilty to the revised charge sheet, after which the defense lawyers prayed for bail for them. Joseph Pemka, lead counsel for the former NPA boss, Mustafa Abdulhamid, noted that his client had steadfastly reported to investigators as part of his bail conditions, which were previously adopted after the case was put before a different court. Presiding Judge Francis Achibonga granted the accused persons a bail of 2 million cedis each, with 2 sureties to be justified. One of the sureties is to be a public servant with a net salary of 5,000 Ghana cedis. The sureties are required to deposit copies of their national IDs at the court's registry. The accused persons are also to report to the lead investigator at the Office of the Special Prosecutor once every fortnight, and their names are to be listed at all points of entry and exits in the country. The case has been adjourned to April 15 for continuation. Lord Idwasari, TV3 News, Accra.
And the Accra High Court has dismissed an application by former Deputy Director of the National Service Authority, Gifty Oware-Mensah, seeking to halt the case until determination of her appeal against the order to list the names and addresses of her witnesses during case management conference. Her lawyers had filed an application to stay proceedings pending the hearings of the appeal at the Court of Appeal. Lord Idwasari reports.
Gifty Oware-Mensah has been charged with multiple offences, including using public office for profit, causing financial loss to the state, and money laundering. She has pleaded not guilty and is on bail. Following the dismissal of the application on Tuesday, March 24, defense lawyers represented by Nana Benye Akon, holding the brief of Gary Nemakon, informed the court of another notice of stay of proceedings pending the hearing and determination at the Court of Appeal. The appeal challenges the order of the High Court refusing to refer the case to the Supreme Court for interpretation. Gifty Oware's lawyers had argued that the practice direction on disclosures at case management stage, which compelled the accused to file witnesses, was in contravention with the 1992 Constitution. They therefore requested the case to be referred to the Supreme Court for interpretation and subsequently filed an application to hold the hearing of the case at the High Court. Presiding Judge Audrey Kokuvute ordered the defense lawyers to serve the prosecution with their supplementary affidavits and adjourn the case to April 15. Prosecution had notified the court that, despite being served with a notice of application to stay proceedings pending appeal, they had not been served with the supplementary affidavits after filing an affidavit to oppose the application. Lord Idwasari, TV3 News, Accra.
And now the founder of UT Group and Amoabing Leadership Foundation, Captain Retired Prince Kofi Amoabing, has expressed concern about the judiciary, which he says could derail government's anti-corruption efforts through the Operation Recover or Loot. Prince Kofi Amoabing argued that highly resourceful corruption suspects are employing powerful lawyers to ensure indefinite delays of their cases. He spoke to Alfred Okanse in an exclusive interview.
With these issues you raised with the judiciary and with the current Operation Recover or Loot objective that this administration is on, a number of people are standing trial. Do you have any hope and confidence in this oral?
No.
You don't have any hope in oral?
The oral. They said they were going to recover $21 billion or some huge amount like that. We all had hope in it. Maybe 1 year or 10 months down the line, how much have we collected? How transparent is it? Because when people have those kind of monies, they can manipulate the system. They can pay judges to let me put it to the raw. Because we are not paying our judges well. And they are going to go on pension. And what are they going to eat? How are they going to die? So really, if somebody has 1 billion CDs and even process and take him to court, the guy can pay and get out of it. I'm telling you, it's a fact. You know, I'm not saying all judges are corrupt, but I mean, when you do not actually remunerate your judges well, and they have to live a certain lifestyle, and you have such huge cases that they have to decide, really, I mean, you are just being an ostrich, putting your head in the sand and saying that you're covered. You're not covered. We have too many of these issues. You know, oral 21 for something billion, how much have we collected? Not even 1 billion. And the people are working free and putting the money anywhere, doing whatever they can with it. And me and you sit here and we only listen to the news. And they are not transparent about it. I mean, this should be something that they are reporting on case by case and what
the
they
Attorney
have done.
General comes out every now and then.
But the Attorney General is overwhelmed by case. That's why my case has not been heard. I'm sure he hasn't even read my case, recent submission that we made.
In more news tonight, today is World Tuberculosis Day, and more than half of tuberculosis patients in Ghana are going undiagnosed, and the consequences could be deadly. Estimates suggest that while 44,000 new TB cases occur in the country every year, only between 22,000 and 24,000 are ever detected. Health officials are calling it a silent crisis. Deborah Abamensa has filed this report.
Ghana's battle against tuberculosis is far from over. According to the health authorities, the gap between actual cases and diagnosed ones remains alarming, with over 50% of those living with the disease walking through communities undetected. Experts point to resource challenges as a key driver of this diagnostic gap. Benaziem is the program manager, National Tuberculosis Program.
It is estimated that every year 44,000 new TB cases occur in Ghana. As we speak, the National TB Control Program is able to detect and report on 20,612 TB cases. And this is because of the resources and capacities we have currently.
Beyond the numbers, the disease carries a heavy social burden. For many survivors, the battle does not end with treatment. Stigma follows.
A teacher looked through my report and saw chronic disease stated in the report. He asked, and I said tuberculosis. That is when he said, not here. People stopped buying from my mother. Whispers and accusation followed. People claimed I had HIV. Others said I was cursed. Friends rejected me, even some health workers. After completing the grueling treatment, I thought the nightmare was over. But in 2019, when I tried to enter SHS with a medical report, they rejected me again.
The government says it is taking concrete steps to close the detection gap. Authorities have procured equipment worth 30 million Ghana cedis as part of efforts to strengthen the country's diagnostic capacity. Professor Grace Ayensu Dankwa is Deputy Minister for Health.
As part of the efforts to strengthen TB detection and diagnosis, government has invested in the procurement of 10 new AI-enabled digital X-ray systems, 15 new Gen Expert machines, together with the accessories to complement the existing diagnostic infrastructure across the country.
World Health Organization Country Representative for Ghana, Dr. Fiona Braka, says equipment alone will not win the fight.
Too often, families are devastated with financial consequences. Nearly 70% of households affected by TB experience catastrophic costs, with the African region accounting for the highest proportion. These challenges are compounded by insufficient investment. The African region needs $4.5 billion annually to mount a comprehensive TB response. Yet current funding remains far below this level, with a gap of $3.6 billion.
Sustained investment, public education, and an end to stigma are equally critical if Ghana is to meet global standards in the battle against tuberculosis.
And still on health, the Ghana Medical Association says a viral video from the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, the emergency center, is real. Despite claims it could be AI generated, the association is urging the Ministry of Health to take a broader approach to fix congestion and improve care. The Ghana Medical Association has made some proposals on addressing the issues, and we're going to go through them on our screens very shortly. They're talking about overcrowding as first. Overcrowding at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital Accident and Emergency Center. GMA proposals institute a digitized intra-hospital bed management system and search plan. This means that hospitals should be able to track in real time which beds are available, which beds are occupied or being prepared, so patients are not left waiting endlessly at the emergency unit. Secondly, they're mentioning timely clinical decision-making and onward transfer of patients from the A&E center to appropriate departments for definitive care, and doctors must be able to quickly assess patients and move them from accident and emergency centers to the appropriate wards for definitive care, reducing the dangers of backlogs at the emergency point. The third point they are raising is the association wants government to retool nearby hospitals, and this means that facilities around Accra should be upgraded with equipment and staff so that they can handle more cases, and that will ease the pressure on the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, which currently serves as a referral hub for much of the country. Another point they are raising is that establish a back referral system for patients, and patients who are stable after initial treatment at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, they should be transferred back to district or regional hospitals closer to their homes to continue care, and this will in turn free up space for critical cases. The fifth point is that implement digitized real-time tracking of emergency room beds in the country. This would allow ambulances and referring hospitals to know exactly where space is available before moving patients, avoiding unnecessary delays and then overcrowding. They also are suggesting that coordinate pre-arrival communication between referral facilities, ambulance service and the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. So these are some of the things they are raising. Also, establish a national dashboard tracking emergency command center. They are pushing for the creation of this command center that would monitor hospital capacity nationwide. It will also coordinate patient distribution and respond quickly during crisis.
And away from the health sector, as Ghana battles a tomato shortage, local farmers are urging government to invest in improved climate-resilient seeds to enable year-round production. They argue that with the right support, irrigation schemes like Tuba can reduce reliance on imports and stabilize supply.
Ghana is currently experiencing a shortage in the supply of tomatoes following the ban on exports by its northern neighbor, Burkina Faso. But as government moves to reopen talks with its Sahelian counterparts for possible sourcing, some local farmers say the solution lies at home. They are calling for more pragmatic interventions rather than relying on imports, which continue to exert pressure on the local currency. The Tuba irrigation farm, which sits on 520 acres in Accra, could play a vital role in addressing the tomato shortage if the government adequately supports farmers. With an improved mechanized system, water is drawn from the Weja Dam about 7.5 kilometers away into a reservoir in Tuba for onward distribution, enabling all year-round commercial farming. Despite this intervention, tomato cultivation is largely done during the rainy season, spanning June, July and August. This is because the seed varieties currently cultivated cannot withstand prevailing climatic conditions. Farmers say they are ready to expand production if government provides the needed support. Abdul Karim Tete is a former assemblyman for Tuba and one of the 344 irrigation farmers tilling the land.
If you go to the north, there are arable land, vast land there that the government can do this irrigation system there. We cannot depend on other countries like Burkina Faso and then our neighboring countries that we are importing tomatoes. So if our scientists can stand and do well and bring out those seeds, we have no problem.
His colleague Lawe corroborates this, highlighting the need for improved agronomic practices.
Last year, this government gave us fertilizer and it helps. They give us 4,500 bags of fertilizer, free, and we use it and the yield go up. So if this year they can give us some, in addition with some small things, we are going to produce tomatoes more than what we did last year.
a principal research scientist and tomato breeder at the CSIR Crops Research Institute, Dr. Michael Kwabnaote says the challenges with local tomato production go beyond seeds. According to him, improved varieties of tomato seeds, including CSIR Kwabna, have been developed locally to match those from Burkina Faso, but more support is needed.
What I want to say is that we don't have one variety that can actually do well in all the season. Remember, in Ghana, we have major season where we experience heavy rainfall, minor season, and then the dry season. And so in breeding, we have something we call gene-by-E, genotype by environment interaction. Certain seed of variety that will do well in, say, Volta region may not do well in Ashanti or the Upper East. And so we say there's some interaction there, okay? So varieties perform differently at different environments. And so for us researchers, any variety we come out with, we evaluate them over seasons to be sure that this particular variety will do well at this particular place.
Dr. Michael Kwabnaote is calling on the government to prioritize crop research.
For any forward-thinking country, they will not underplay the role of research. Research can turn this country into the positive direction.
For stakeholders, sustained investment in research, improved seeds, and farmer support will be key to building a resilient, self-sufficient tomato industry in Ghana. Stanley Nibleu, TV3 News, Accra.
Meanwhile, at the bustling Techiman market in the Bono East region, correspondent Belinda Teta reports of tomato price hikes following the Burkina Faso export ban.
The atmosphere at the Techiman market on Monday, March 24, was one of frustration rather than the usual vibrant commerce. The sharp increase in the price of tomatoes has left consumers in a state of distress.
I wanted to buy tomatoes, but the price is high, so now my only option is tin tomatoes.
And then tomatoes
Today, the prices of tomatoes go high. The one we usually used to buy for 10 cedis is 20 cedis, and my budget is not up to. The high cost of entry to secure stock, coupled with lower sales, has thinned profit margins to a breaking point.
Ending of this month.
The date scheduled for the ban is supposed to be the end of this month. So because of that, there's a lot of pressure on the tomatoes. And due to that, they've also increased the price. And since the price is too high, we are unable to make profits because when the customers come and the price is high, they won't buy. The price increment from the source is affecting us here. You can finish selling a whole box and you won't even make the capital, not to talk of the profits. In light of the crisis, traders are calling on government to enter immediate negotiations with the Burkinabe authorities. The primary goal is to secure a postponement of the ban date. Such a buffer would allow local traders to clear current investment and provide the much-needed transition period as the new farming season approaches. We'll urge government to negotiate with the Burkinabe authorities so that at least they can extend the ban date. That way we can sell to repay our loans, and by then the new season would have started, and so we'll still get tomatoes to sell. The current crisis has exposed the vulnerability of the region's reliance on imported produce. Market leaders are urging government to treat irrigation investment as a matter of national urgency. By providing year-round water access in the Bono East region, farmers can move away from the seasonal rain-fed agriculture, ensuring a steady, locally sourced supply of tomatoes. At this point, we'll urge government to invest in irrigation system in our region for us. Our region produces large amounts of tomatoes. So if our farmers are being provided with irrigation, they can also farm all year round. Some say this crisis could be a blessing in disguise for the government of Ghana to take pragmatic steps to boost local tomato production by expanding irrigable land and improving access to high-yielding tomato seed varieties desired by Ghanaian consumers. This will not only keep money in the Ghanaian economy, but also create thousands of local jobs along the tomato value chain. Experts argue that with strategic planning and investment, Ghana could reduce its dependence on imported tomatoes, stabilize prices for consumers, and strengthen the resilience of local agricultural sector for years to come. Belinda Tete, TV3 News, Techiman.
Now, the family of the woman who has been feeding her children feces and urine-infested food has been taken to the Wejatbawi Municipal Hospital and will continue treatment. Her mother, according to the Gender Ministry, will receive treatment at the psychiatric hospital.
Following the Gender Minister's visit to their residence in New Gbawe, the family has been receiving care and attention from social welfare. Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection, Dr. Agnes Naumumulate, has stated that government will not abandon the family.
His Excellency T. Asemono, or say na comprehensive social intervention and more. And see the psychological situation now. The immediate one is what we are attending to, health. Once the health is taken care of, there's a social worker with the MCE at the assembly. We'll do some basic, inquiries. Once we get the needed information, we are proceeding to the next level. It is not our place to judge or to condemn or to stigmatize them, but our place is to offer support.
She said beyond health intervention, she will ensure social support follows after proper assessment of the mother and her children. The family has since been taken to the Wejatbawi Municipal Hospital and will continue treatment at the Accra Psychiatric Hospital. 2 of her children, who are currently not in school, are expected to be reintegrated into the educational system as part of the intervention measures. 56-year-old Letitia Okain and her 2 children have been living in this uncompleted structure for years. Inside the building are sealed bottles of urine carefully stored. According to Letitia, the contents are added to their food to make it healthier and tasty. She also claims the urine is used as pomade and to remove what she describes as chemicals from sachet water before drinking. Letitia further revealed that they keep a bottle of feces which is mixed with kondo when preparing banku.
Okay. It's moody jinson I benku.
Kakra wom, said the bayer book.
What would you say now? No money na.
I cried the idea way.
A neighbor, Atokwansa, who doubles as chairman of the Landlords Association in the area, says the family has lived there for a long time. Nura Mohammed, TV3 News, Accra.
Well, President John Dramani Mahama has raised concerns over what he describes as a lack of global recognition of Africa's historical role in building Europe, as calls for reparatory justice gain momentum under his leadership. Addressing a high-level special event on reparatory justice at the United Nations headquarters in New York, he noted that Africa's contribution to global economic and industrial development has largely been overlooked.
The legendary American jazz player Miles Davis said, and I quote, "It's not the notes you play, it's the notes you don't play." When it comes to the contributions that Africa has made to enriching Europe and building the so-called New World, the silence is deafening. We have paved roads through mountains, we've put down railroad tracks, we've constructed buildings, laying brick by brick, we have cut sugar, cane, we've picked cocoa and cotton, we've descended into mines to unearth precious metals and stones, and we have wet-nursed babies. We've paid the price of admission with the blood of our ancestors, And still, what greets us at the door is silence. What we're met with is mythology.
This is News 360. We're back with more stories after this break. Don't go away.
I love President Charcoal. Why?
The business segment is brought to you by MTN. Touch concentrated perfume.
Hello there, good evening and welcome to the business segment here on News 360. I am Michael Obodu. Now, concerns are growing over Ghana's food security as supply disruptions and market imbalances continue to affect key staples, including tomatoes, rice and poultry. The World Bank says it is committing over $150 million to support efforts to stabilize the sector. The funding falls under the West Africa Food System Resilience Program and is expected to boost production and improve market access across the country.
Ghana's food system has in recent months showed signs of strain. Rice farmers have warned of a glut, while poultry producers say they are struggling to find buyers for thousands of crates of eggs. At the same time, concerns are mounting over the country's reliance on imports, particularly tomatoes, from neighboring Burkina Faso, a key supplier of the Ghanaian market. Any disruption in supply could further drive up prices and deepen food insecurity. Stakeholders at a World Bank Civil Society Organization engagement on food security say the situation highlights deeper structural challenges.
The agriculture sector is on the brink of a heightened food security crisis, and the sooner we act pragmatically, the better. The PFAC therefore urges government to provide leadership, direction, and a clear strategy to permanently address these challenges in the short, medium, and the long term.
The agricultural economist at the World Bank Ghana, Dr. Ashwini Sebastian, says the program is targeting both production and distribution gaps across key value chains, including rice, maize, poultry, and tomatoes.
We are working on that 20 million, but we want to cluster those interventions and think about what is the proper irrigation that's sustainable to do it. But FSRP as a whole has $125 million available to invest in rice. 75 million of that is for irrigation. So we're waiting just to unlock some bottlenecks to move that part forward. We talked also about the poultry interventions. Well, we have this $12 million poultry intervention with commercial poultry farmers, and it's supposed to be revolving so that it continues to grow.
The program, led by the ECOWAS in partnership with the World Bank, aims to help countries better withstand shocks such as droughts, floods, pests, and conflict. But analysts warn that while the funding is significant, addressing Ghana's food security challenges will require sustained reforms to improve efficiency across the entire agricultural value chain.
Now, Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Esiama, has cautioned that Africa risks fragmented financial growth if countries fail to integrate their systems. He stressed that the continent's future depends on aligning innovation, investment, and regulation.
Speaking at the official launch of the 3i Africa Summit 2026 in Accra, Governor Dr. Johnson Esiama emphasized the need to build interoperable payment systems, invest in trusted digital infrastructure, and deepen collaboration among policymakers, industry players, and investors. He noted that these are critical to drive inclusive growth, expand financial access, and ensure sustainable development of Africa's fintech ecosystem.
All these can be achieved when institutions collaborate in pursuit of outcomes that are greater than any single actor can achieve alone.
Meanwhile, Minister of Communications, Digital Technology and Innovation, Samuel Nate George, urged all stakeholders to actively participate in the upcoming SIM registration exercise. This, he noted, will help build reliable data systems that will enable digital lenders to better assess customers' creditworthiness and expand access to finance.
This is one of the key goals of our upcoming SIM registration exercise, which will allow for our digital lenders who are offering critical credit to SMEs to see and appreciate the creditworthiness of their customers. And that's why you must all take part in the upcoming SIM registration.
The 3i Africa Summit 2026 is expected to bring together policymakers, investors, and innovators to align efforts toward a more integrated and inclusive financial ecosystem across the continent.
MTN Ghana has announced a final dividend payment of 48 pesos per share for the 2025 financial year, bringing total shareholder returns to 56 pesos per share. The telecom company made the announcement at its annual general meeting in Accra, where it also reported strong growth in profit and revenue.
MTN Ghana made over 7.8 billion Ghana cedis profit after tax in 2025, indicating an increase of 55% from the previous profits of about 5 billion Ghana cedis. MTN Ghana has announced a final dividend payment of 48 pesos per share for the 2025 financial year. The board of the company had earlier approved a 0.08 pesos interim dividend per share and subsequently announced the 0.40 pesos per share at the AGM. The dividend payment represents a 57% increase in total cash, amounting to 6.4 billion Ghana cedis. Addressing shareholders, the board chairman of MTN Ghana, Ishmael Yamson, assured that the company will emerge stronger despite the ongoing tensions in the Middle East.
We talk about resilience, and resilience countries, resilience companies are those who anticipate what are the likely developments in the future, prepare and execute actions. And that's exactly what we have done. So we understand exactly what is going to happen if the crude oil price goes to 112, 120. We know the parameters and we know the responses that we shall adopt.
As MTN Ghana continues to expand its footprint, stakeholders say maintaining strong financial performance while delivering value to shareholders remains critical. Stephen Blewett is the Chief Executive Officer of MTN Ghana.
We're about to embark internally on a new efficiency drive that the CFO mentioned. And that is whilst we're doing so well, because you always have to fill the barns when the times are good, so that when the times are lean, you've got a bit more to keep you through tough times. So that's the approach of MTN Ghana.
And that'll be all for the business segment here on News 360. I am Michael Obodu. Up next, the sports.
Sports segment is brought to you by
Sasso insecticide spray and coil.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the sports segment here on News 360 with me, Reku Ampofo. Ghana Football Association Communications Director Henry Asante Chum has provided details on the withdrawal of Iñaki Williams and Brandon Masasante from the Black Star squad ahead of the international friendlies in Austria. According to Asante Chum, both players were unable to join the team in camp after sustaining injuries in their final club matches before the international break.
Late Sunday through to Monday morning, we received news from Iñaki Williams' team and then Brandon Thomas Asante's Coventry City that they picked up knocks during their respective matches over the weekend. So immediately one of the players who was on standby was drafted in. I'm talking about Ransford Koningsdorfer. Once we went through the process and the club agreed to release him, we got him his ticket and he arrived late last night to join the squad. So far I would say everything is okay. The past 48 hours have been very productive. We've had 2 training sessions. We returned from the second training session about 45 minutes ago. Today we had 25 players training. Unlike yesterday where we had 21 and then the previous day we had 14. So that is it in terms of updates with respect to player arrivals. Thomas Partey came last night. Lawrence Atizige also arrived last night. Antoine Semenyo arrived yesterday afternoon after his game on Sunday against Arsenal in the League Cup. And then the last 2 players actually to report were Alexander Jiku, who is based in Russia, and then Kojo Pompepra, who is based in France, who plays for Nice. So we have 25 players camp at the moment, and all of them took part in this afternoon's training.
Well, moving on to other stories where the Senegal Football Federation has appealed to the Court of Arbitration for Sport after the Confederation of African Football stripped Senegal of the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations title. CAF awarded Morocco a 3-0 victory following Senegal's 14-minute walk-off protest in the final. Senegal argues the punishment is excessive and seeks to overturn the decision. CAS would now review the case, with the verdict expected to have major implications for African football governance. The Federation has appointed an experienced sports lawyer confident in mounting a strong case as they seek to overturn the decision, which could take up to 6 months. Well, before we go, sad news for Liverpool fans, and that's because Mohamed Salah is set to bring down the curtains on his illustrious career with the Reds at the end of the 2025-2026 season. The forward has reached an agreement with the Reds that would see him close a remarkable 9-year chapter at Anfield. Salah expressed his wish to make this announcement to the supporters at the earliest possible opportunity to provide transparency about his future due to his respect and gratitude for them. Signed from AS Roma in the summer of 2017, the number 11 for Liverpool has firmly established himself as one of the greatest players in Liverpool's history, helping the club to 2 Premier League titles, the Champions League, FIFA Club World Cup, UEFA Super Cup, FA Cup, and 2 League Cups, as well as an FA Community Shield. Well, those are the numbers of the Egyptian. Quite incredible. 235 goals and 122 assists in 435 games for Liverpool with 10 trophies. Of course, those numbers are subject to change as the season would officially end in a couple of months. Or you can get some more sports updates on our social media handles at 3SportsGH. My name is Oreku Ampofo.
Entertainment news segment is brought to you by GTP Lifestyle
and Napa Foods. Heaven Black Insecticide Spray and Coil.
Powered by 3 Entertainment.
Well, good evening and welcome to the entertainment news segment here on News 360. My name is Noella Donko. Now, the TV3 Ghana Month expedition was truly one for the books. The trip offered a unique blend of tourism, culture, and rich historical experiences. Patrons expressed a strong desire for more of such initiatives to help boost domestic tourism. The expedition took participants through 3 key regions, Eastern Ashanti and Central, delivering a rich blend of tourism, culture, and historical exploration.
The sun can penetrate because of how smallish the leaves are.
The journey began in the Eastern region at Ohene Cocoa Farms, where patrons enjoyed an insightful tour of the eco-friendly cocoa farm, gaining first-hand knowledge on Ghana's cocoa heritage. Day 1 ended at Safari Valley Resort, where participants relaxed and connected with nature in a calm and refreshing environment.
In this resort, we have the plain zebras. We call them plain because of their natural habitat, which is the open plain area of the savanna region in Eastern and Southern Africa, south of the Sahara. Plain zebras have subspecies. We have Grant, Quagga, and Bachel. They are moving.
The team then moved to the Ashanti region, the cultural heartbeat of Ghana. Patrons visited the famous Bonre Kente village, known for its rich tradition of kente weaving, as well as the Minchia Palace Museum, which offers deep insight into the history of the Ashanti Kingdom.
So you're all welcome to Bonre Kente Museum. Bonre is the grassroots for kente weaving.
In the Central region, history took center stage. Participants visited the Asin Mansu Slave River site and the Cape Coast Castle, where they reflected on the impact of the transatlantic slave trade.
The history here is very traumatic and emotional. The most important aspect is the lesson we learn from this place.
For many patrons, the breathtaking landscapes, from lush forests to rolling valleys, and the powerful historical experiences made the expedition truly unforgettable. Many participants are already calling for more of such trips to help promote domestic tourism and celebrate Ghana's rich cultural heritage. For the entertainment news segment here on News 360, my name is Noella Donko.
Thank you so much, Noella. Coming up on the international front, Pakistan's Prime Minister says he is willing to host talks between the US and Iran on ending the war in the Gulf, a day after President Donald Trump postponed threats to bomb Iranian power plants, saying there had been productive talks. In a post on X, Prime Minister Sharif said Pakistan welcomed and fully supported ongoing efforts to pursue dialogue to end the war. The US and Israel launched strikes on Iran on February 28 after saying they had failed to make enough headway in talks aimed at ending Iran's nuclear program.
And that's our package for you tonight. But there's always more news on our website, 3news.com. My name is Noble Crosby Allen.
And I am Portia Gabodu. Join Beatrice Edu at 9 p.m. for Agenda. Also, Ghana Tonight with Alfred Okanse at 10 p.m. Good evening.